I met Jerry at a party, just out of the blue. I didn't think he was the coolest guy in the world or anything. He had no family in the area, so he's kind of struggling, didn't have any money or a place to stay or anything. And me being completely drunk, just offered this total stranger a place to stay and clothes and food and musical instruments, and the next, I think 2 days later, he moved his stuff up into the rehearsal room that I was working to, and he got himself a little 4-track and kind of started out there writing and jamming with some people. He was playing with some guys that I thought just weren't up to par with the music he was writing. And I remember meeting Mike and Sean, prior to that. Mike Starr, by the way, was wearing a bathrobe, cowboy boots, and a cowboy hat on a Honda motorcycle. So I just, I don't know why, but those two guys popped into mind. It was about 2 years later when the whole thing with Jerry was happening. And, I remember that they were really cocky and overly confident, and I said, why don't you give these guys a try, It clicked right away, and so we kind of did a trade-off thing. Jerry played guitar in my band, and I sang for his band. And after a while, that wasn't working. The guys wanted a commitment, so they auditioned singers, and that pissed me off. So I quit my band and joined this one. It comes super easy, but it doesn't come easily if I sit down and try and write. But if I go to the studio when the music's done and I just have the producers set up a microphone in the engineering room and set up an open track and show me what buttons to push to record, I go in, I go in the engineering room myself, going alone, and just kind of toy around with the song for a few minutes and figure out a melody line. And once I figured that out, I just pick something out of my head, the first thing that pops in, and then I write a verse and a chorus, and I'll record those and have the band come in and listen to them. If they like the direction I'm going, then I do the rest of it. That kind of experience was the most nerve-wracking, scariest experience in my life. We decided to do a show, Barrett and Mike and Baker and myself, and Mike came over to my house, and I was in bed, and he came in and woke me up and said, "You want to play a show in 3 days with these guys?" And I said, "Yeah, sure. When are we going to practice?" And he said, "Well, we'll practice the night before." So we went down and we came up with 2 or 3 songs, which the next day nobody remembered a riff or a lyric or anything. So what we did is we got on stage and they played music. They made up music and threw these riffs together, and they all stared at me and waited for something to come flying out of my mouth. And in front of all those people, it was, I wasn't sure if I was going to run as fast as I could off the stage and out the door, or if I was going to stand there and try and do it. And I stayed there and I spit something out that fit with the music. And so we played like 4 Sundays in a row, and each time we played, we played a couple more songs, and pretty soon we had enough music to do a record. I was more satisfied with the Mad Season record than any other recordings I'd done. I wasn't burned out on any of the songs, so that's the way we kind of chose to do the Alice record. We've matured a lot musically and as people. Back then we were kind of like a gang, all for one, and one for all, and one for the group. And we were still kind of searching around for what our niche was. We had a good idea, but it wasn't really set in stone yet. And I think now, with this record, it was basically, there wasn't really much worry as far as can we make a good record. There was more worry as far as, with all that we've been through personally and business-wise and press-wise, can we make a record that we're happy with? And we went in with that attitude, and I think we had fun every day that we jammed and recorded. It really brought us closer together as people and friends again. I know that the guys in this band would do anything for me, and I'd do the same for them. I know that I can trust them, and I think now they know that they can trust me. We've laid everything on the table, and no matter what we're doing, no matter what is accepted, between the four of us, we just kind of decided that, we've all grown into our individual lives, and sometimes things we do don't agree with the other's individual life, but what we do now is we leave that at home and we accept it and concentrate on working. Interviews just kind of got stupid. It was like, instead of finding out something new about the band that the last journalist didn't find out, it was more like, how can I reword what the last guy wrote so it sounds like an even harsher attack, but it's written more eloquently. Everyone I was getting interviewed by, and the other guys that were searching for a snazzy way to write an insult, and disguise it. And I was just tired of it. Nobody wanted to know about the music. They wanted to know, are you getting fucked up? Are you gay? Are you dying of AIDS? I'm usually the last to hear that I'm dying of AIDS or whatever it is. Yeah, I'm aware of it, and that kind of gave me an idea of how we were getting viewed, and that makes me want to come out and let people know that we're here, we're all right. The band was having troubles, and we kind of split apart for a while. I guess people the same people who put you on the pedestal are just dying to fucking tear you down and write about it first, And that wasn't happening with me, The guy who's supposed to fall down and be at death's bed and, I don't know, doing whatever people wanted to think I was doing, that guy was, making records and getting his artwork into gallery shows. I was doing what people didn't expect, I was working, and if people want to interview me or talk to me, I want to tell them, that's what I'm doing. I'd like to win one of the nominations we often get with this band, I'd like to be able to walk up on stage and thank the people that I owe thanks to, and walk away with that award. That's something I'd like to do. I've written a lot of music for a project that I've been trying to get off the ground, write and record and produce my own record and play all the instruments. And I started and I kind of quit halfway through, and I think I'm gonna get back to that and finish that. And I want to write a book, which I've been working on for a long time, for about 5 years now. I want to put that together and make that a reality. For right now, that's it. In the lyrics, we deal with a lot of painful issues without getting too specific, just kind of hitting more on feelings. And we found that a lot of people approached us and they experience those same feelings, and they identify with it as almost to the point of where they, are certain that that song was written for them or about them. And sometimes, you know, their situation is completely in another ballpark from, you know, the situation that was in mine or Jerry's mind when we wrote, you know, these lyrics. But that's kind of our idea, is keep them loose enough to allow others to apply it to their story, to their lives. You know, we've taken some painful feelings and pulled them out of people and made it sound beautiful and make it easier for that person to deal with those memories or those feelings. What we wrote about on Dirt, or what I wrote about, if those were still significant issues in my life today, I might be writing that record all over again. But, you know, as with anyone's life, or you know, with time, you just move on to other things. And, you know, other things were going on during the writing of this record. And I think just the friction and the energy and the outside pecking at us to get going and get moving on this record gave us the inspiration to kind of lash out and in a proper way. We kept this record really close to home, really close to the time and the experiences and what we were feeling. You know, we made the record in 4 months, and I think all those songs were just kind of a whirlwind of emotions that happened during the making of that record. You know, I would be singing, I would hear my voice doing something that I thought I could accomplish with some of the stuff I had at home, like my pig nose guitar amp, a crate guitar amp, Jimi Hendrix fuzz face effects box, and a flanger and a phase shifter, you know, a wah-wah. I used a wah-wah during some of it. I just tried a lot of different guitar effects. The producer found this microphone for $15 at a pawn shop. It was this plastic, you know, a AA battery operated square mic, like the Elvis type, you know, mic, and it was totally distorted, sounded like an AM radio thing, and you couldn't sing too loud in it because it just sounded like it was going to blow. If you'd stand way back from that and hook that into the fuzz face and, you know, take all the low end out and crank the mid range and the tone treble all the way up, and, you know, do some doubling effects with that. You know, I just wanted to just make it more interesting. I've kind of like denied myself doing that just because other people were doing it, and I just figured I'd wait till they weren't and I could do it. My intentions are not aimed in that direction. I mean, as far as I'm concerned, we'll make another record, and if that one goes well, we'll make another one after that. You know, if we start putting out shitty records, I say, let's do something else. But as long as we're putting out records that we like and other people like, you know, I see no reason to stop making records, you know.